How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. We have an interesting story for you guys today regarding Anthony Volpe. And if you watched yesterday's game, you saw a pretty good performance. Had a couple of really nice hit balls, had that double, got an RBI, a run, had that pop-up single that landed that fly ball. And, you're looking at Volpe saying, where has this kid been? Where has this version of him been? The plate discipline, the confidence, the, ability to hit those pitches in the zone. And it looked like a different player, and it was. The batting stance is different. The swing was different, and there's a good reason for that. And we have some questions for Yankees hitting coach Dylan Lawson, who we'd love to figure out exactly what's going on there, because his swing and his batting stance were different, and nobody noticed. It's literally his job to see these things, literally his job to see them on the film, especially for a player struggling to that magnitude. And instead, Anthony Volpe goes home to his parents' house and invites some of his AA buddies, Austin Wells, over, looking at some clips and film, and Austin Wells goes to him and says, your stance is different, dude. Like, your feet are spread out. Like, you're not condensed like you usually are. Your whole stance and setup are different. Like, and he's like, holy crap, like, I didn't even notice. Why is our hitting coach not noticing these differences? It was a major one, too. If you look at the before and after pictures, they're totally different stances, like insanely different stances. So, Ryan, I want to get your take on that. I want to get your thoughts on kind of what might have been going on there. But to me, it's concerning. It seems like it wasn't a diagnosed change. It wasn't something that they actually implemented. It seems like it was a mistake and no one corrected it. And that's really concerning to me.
Yeah, no, I do not like the fact that that's how it happened. Look, end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and complain too much about, like, the idea that Volpe was the one who figured it out, but I am going to be frustrated about the idea that the Yankees hitting coaches weren't the ones to identify this. I don't like that. Like, that's a little concerning. It's not one of those things, and you and I were talking about this, like, literally right before we pressed record, right, where it's like, it's not like it's one of those things where Volpe and Wells or, whoever else was there are sitting down, they just, like, come up with an adjustment he should make, and it's different from what he's ever tried in the past, and they're just making minor tweaks. Because end of the day, like, not that coaches shouldn't be involved in that process, but sometimes you got to just learn from your buddies. Austin Wells has played with him for a very long time. They came up through a system together, and sometimes, it's just a matter of, trying things that other teammates have tried in the past, and learning from what players have tried, when they struggle or whatever it may be. But that's not great, like when your feet are shifted off, it looks different too. And if you look at the difference, the plate coverage that Volpe gets is distinctly different, right? Look at the outside part of the plate, right? He looks like he's completely like has no shot those pitches. And as you mentioned, the swings, right? Even that fly out to left field, he just missed a home run to left. I thought his swings were good. I thought he was making better quality of contact. I want to see a larger sample size, obviously, but if this is something for Volpe, if Volpe is able to get anything out of this, if there is any sort of progress he can make here, that would be huge, right? That would be massive. I mean, suddenly we're sitting here talking about, hey, the guy isn't the shortstop, to, hey, it seems like it was just a feet shift thing, right? And again, small sample size, so I'm not going to get too over the board yet. But as you mentioned, the Yankees as a coaching staff have to figure that out. Like, that's what it's got to be. It can't be that the Yankees aren't able to identify those things, right? And am I going to sit here and say the Yankees are incapable of developing hitters? No, right? Like, Jake Bauers, right? Like, Jake Bauers is a great example of this. Billy McKinney's coming out of nowhere, coming and giving you hits. Willie Calhoun's stepped up every now and then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say the Yankees are incapable of, taking guys who are career minor leaguers or are not good hitters and turning them into good hitters. The Yankees have found surplus value in that sense. But how much of that is Dylan Lawson, right? You know what I mean? So, is it the minor league coaching? Like, who are the guys involved in this, right? So, I think it's one of those things where, like, you're happy because Volpe's making an adjustment and you feel like he had to make an adjustment. Something had to give eventually. But you're also frustrated because the way it happened doesn't indicate that the Yankees were catching on to that, or that the coaching staff was able to catch on to that. And I think that's kind of the weird situation you're put in when you hear a quote like this. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely raises some questions, like obvious ones, like why is it that Austin Wells, our AA catcher, is finding these things and not our hitting coach? That's at the major league level, and that's his job. That's a little concerning to me. Like, I just don't know what to say about it, because based on the obvious quotes, Anthony Volpe didn't know this was happening, right? Like, if this was implemented, it would have been switched back. It would have been changed. Like, Josh Donaldson's stance difference was different. We know that. That was implemented. He went back to his old stance now, but, with Volpe, it seemed like it was in his head. Like he was almost so deep in his own head that his stance was changing and on, in these most recent at-bats. And that has to be something that's noticed. That has to be something that's addressed. I really just don't know how that happens. I think he inadvertently threw the hitting coach under the bus for it, but I would love to get Dylan Lawson's take on that. Maybe there was something that they changed. Maybe it was something that they fixed. And Austin Wells said, you know what, actually, I don't like that. I don't like that you're doing that. Your hips are flying open. And look, and Ryan, I know you know this. There have been analysts and commentators for the Yankees, like Michael Kay. They've all been saying, all of them have been saying that his hips are flying open. Like his whole technicalities, the fundamentals are all different. And why is it the analysts and these guys are saying it, but then Dylan Lawson doesn't know it? Our hitting coach doesn't know it. Our coaches don't know it. And suddenly Austin Wells is the one that enacts the change. And he says, dude, your hips are coming open. Why is everyone saying it and the Yankees not seeing it? You know what I mean? Like, that's very concerning to me. Maybe there's a lack of communication going on in the clubhouse. And that's kind of something that we've seen in the past, that there seems to be a lack of communication at times, and things are not being properly, digested and processed and implemented. So maybe there's a problem there. Maybe there's something that needs to be solved. I don't know. I'm just kind of guesstimating right now. But the fact that Volpe says it, the hitting coach doesn't know it, Austin Wells is fixing it, very concerning to me. Very, very concerning to me. I'd love to get some answers just so I can, have the peace of mind. But again, let's see a bigger sample size. Anthony Volpe does show up occasionally in big games. Then suddenly, he's back to normal and he's struggling. But I'll tell you what, his confidence and focus were different yesterday. And Max Scherzer is a tremendous pitcher, guys. The fact that he was able to have success against Scherzer clearly says to me that he was feeling better about it. He felt confident. He came off of that day off, that Monday day off, where he went home to his parents and hung out with his buddies and reminisced and saw some stuff and noticed some things. He came back a different player mentally. And we talked about this. I wrote about this, that Volpe's biggest problems were not physical, they were mental. And then he fixed the batting stance. He regained confidence because he found, right, sometimes when you're struggling with something and then you're like, oh my God, that's why I was struggling. You get that confidence back because you realize you were making a mistake that you didn't even realize you were making. And you're like, oh my God, okay, now I can go back and do my usual stuff. He looked so confident last night. He looked like he was, ready to hit, ready to do stuff, make an impact. And he did just that. And he, like you said, he just missed the home run. I want to see if he bounces back today against Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers in their last decade, and has a good game. That's what I'd love to see. Back-to-back good performances against Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. There's no way you're going to convince me that Anthony Volpe is not ready to take a bigger step forward, is not ready to make a positive impact. And, we were saying we don't think he should be sent down. We just think that the changes need to happen. The Yankees need to implement them, whatever it might be. And it seems like he figured it out himself. And that's concerning to me. When a rookie is figuring out his own problems and you have the minor leaguers helping him out to figure out what's going on, it screams lack of communication. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how else to describe it. But does that concern you as well? Do you think that there's something going on there? Because I don't know any other way to digest that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where it's I don't like the process as to how something occurs. I think is super important, especially when we're talking from an organization standpoint, because you're not just going on a case by case basis here. You're going on how this is gonna, how this applies to, the organization, as a whole, right? How are the Yankees going to make adjustments, or how are the Yankees picking up, mechanical tweaks from this guys and that guy, right? And again, I don't want to sit here and make it seem like the Yankees are completely incapable of developing hitters. Again, as I said, Jake Bauers, right? That dude did not play in Major League Baseball last year. It's not even like this is a guy who was just struggling last year. He didn't get a Major League job last year. He was in minor league baseball for all of last season, and they were able to turn him into a pretty competent player. So, I'm not going to say that they're incapable of developing hitters, but it's just one of those things where that miss feels bad. It's a bad miss, right? It's a bad miss on the side of the coaching staff. And, I like to be fair. I like to give everyone a fair shake of things. So that's why I'm mentioning the good with the bad, right? Because, again, that's how it should be, right? If I were to sit here and just say it's impossible for them to develop hitters, every hitter they get gets worse here, right? That would be me I'm just ignoring the guys who are on this team. But with that being said, it's just one of those things where you want to see a bigger sample size. I think Justin Verlander, again, is a good opponent for you to try to, gain a little more validity or confidence, right? This is a confidence-based game. I think a lot of Volpe's struggles are confidence-based because he swings a lot, and I feel like he's just going up there super aggressive, trying to be the hero, doesn't really know what to do after he falls behind an account. And, I think it's important for him to remember that when you fall behind an account, you can't give into a pitcher. You can't let the pitcher go out there and just throw sliders down the way and you're going to swing at everything. In fact, I was actually looking at this data yesterday. Anthony Volpe swings, I believe he sees 63% of pitches out of the zone on 2 strikes. The league average is around 57%, which means that's somewhat notable, right? There is a percent increase in Volpe getting pitches out of the zone, and the reason for that is because Volpe expands a lot on 2 strikes. He is super aggressive on 2 strikes. He swings at everything, and pitchers know that. And if Volpe's a little more dialed back, that'll definitely help. I think the stance change will help him get to certain baseballs that he wasn't getting to before. His swinging strike rate is way up. Batters are actually throwing more pitches in the zone to him over his last month and a half, and he's struggled mightily. It seems like he's struggled to handle pitches in the zone, and pitchers have realized that. They're able to get ahead of him 0-1, 0-2, 1-1, 1-2, and Volpe's now put on his back foot, and then he ends up chasing, and that's how we see what we saw over the last month, which is unacceptable offense. But, hopefully he can make that adjustment. Hopefully he can get a little bit better. Again, him learning from Austin Wells. I'm not going to make any comments about whether Austin Wells should be in Anthony Volpe's house or in the Yankees locker room, but, I'm not gonna get too much into that. But I think end of the day, you and I can agree, if he can build off of this, that's going to be a huge development for the Yankees. Stan obviously hit a home run yesterday. Rizzo had a hit and a walk. I know that wasn't the most impressive performance in the world, but he was like 0 for 24, so you'll take it. And then DJ had a home run as well. So, those are, I think yesterday there were 4 guys there who have been notably terrible over the last month, who were not playing in Stanton's case, who stepped up and did an absolutely amazing job carrying this team yesterday. Without those 4 guys, the Yankees don't win. And kind of the cherry on top, it's Josh Donaldson pinch hitting and coming through with a sac fly. You know what I mean? Situational hitting, things that you feel like Donaldson really struggled with. So, yesterday's win kind of felt like a lot of the guys who the Yankees need to stepped up and did a job, and the Yankees won because of it. And the Yankees were able to get past a tough Luis Severino start. And I think that, not that you're going to see Anthony Volpe hit 2 doubles every single day, but if you can get some consistent performance from your offense, again, you don't care how you win, you just care that you do win while Judge is out. I think that's kind of the motto right now, right? You just got to win as many games as possible without Aaron Judge. You'll win today and you sweep the Mets. You got an off day Thursday. You got another one Monday. You got a series against the Mariners and the Red Sox in between, right? Those are 2 days where you don't have to play baseball games. There are 2 days where you'll get another day of Aaron Judge recovery, but you don't have to actually play a game without him. So you just got to win as many games, rattle off as many wins as you can without Aaron Judge, and Volpe is going to be a big part of that if you can continue to hit.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Volpe, when he's getting on base, it's not just him that's benefiting from it, right? When Volpe gets on base, he's benefiting everybody, right? The guys who are coming up behind him, substantial distractions on the base paths. His ability to get into a scoring position, can turn a single into a double with a stolen base, and suddenly the Yankees are up 1-0. Getting him on base should be the priority. Taking those pitches, being disciplined. Him striking out at a 31% clip is not normal for Anthony Volpe. He was only striking out at 17% in Double-A. Now, we expected him to take some time. We expected things to be a little bit more problematic, but it's been getting worse. He started out, his strikeout rate wasn't terrible in his first month, but the last month and a half have been really bad. So things have been progressing in the wrong direction. That's not usual for him. He usually gets better, which tells me it's a coaching problem. You know what I mean? Like, to me, this is just my take. I don't know if you guys agree with this. You can let us know in the YouTube comments. But Anthony Volpe at every single stage has started slow and gotten better progressively. And after 2 or 3 months, he's got a grasp of it. The thing is, he's gotten worse progressively over the last two or 3 months, which says to me that something is going on with the coaching that's not really fitting with him. That's not helping him improve and not helping him adjust. And clearly we're seeing a disconnect because they didn't even notice his batting stance changed. And he had to get his guy, Austin Wells, who maybe, Ryan, as you said, should be in the Yankees clubhouse right now. If not as a catcher for the Yankees, as Anthony Volpe's best friend and obviously his coach. So I'll tell you what, right now the Yankees have a lot to figure out. I think there's some communication problems going on, and I think that they need to start looking at some of these guys who are struggling and noticing things that their AA prospects are seeing on the film, which is really concerning to me. Obviously, that could be debunked with a simple quote from Dylan Lawson, and I hope to God that there's more of an explanation behind it, because it would be really disappointing to know that he didn't spot that and try to fix it. But we'll find out. As always, my friends, always happy to hear perspectives below in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. I'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.